Well, it's been a long time since I made a new video, and what you're about to see is the reason why. Well, I mean, you can already see right here there's something missing. No, everything is not gone, at least not yet. But we've had some issues. You can see the clock that was on the wall. That's going to be torn apart like this for at least another 2 weeks because there are still issues. This is going to be going away because it's a piece of junk. You can see some of this was me, but certainly down here at least, the cat's been scratching it up. So I had a significantly lower amount of stuff in here. This was a little bit of a disaster. This has been my low-end radio stuff for the last little while, and the hard drive failed. Do I still have it sitting in here? Yes, I do. This thing decided it was going to kick the bucket for no reason whatsoever. So what I did is I actually went out and I bought an SSD for it, which actually has 3D NAND. I didn't even notice that until now. Got that, so now I will not have to worry about hard drives failing in this anymore because, I mean, come on, this was like 25 bucks. Because that drive had music on it, and 120 gigabytes is not going to be enough to store music, well, I bought that as well for way too much money. It's 1 terabyte. I wanted a 500 gig, but I guess they don't sell one 500 gig anymore. But of course, none of that's the point of the video. The point of the video is this, which is my main computer, based on an AMD R5 2600 CPU, which is a great little CPU. Totally wipes the floor with all of the equivalently priced Intel stuff. Sorry to any of the Intel diehards that watch my videos, but you know, you gotta be honest about it. People can see through the lies after a while, so there you go. Okay, so that's one thing. If you want to see the build and all the total specs of this machine, you can go ahead and do so in the rather poorly created video that I uploaded back on December 24th or somewhere thereabouts. It was a Christmas build. That's pretty much what it was. I got the CPU for Christmas. I bought the rest of the parts. Well, most of the rest of the parts. A lot of it was stuff I already had laying around. But the CPU, the RAM, the motherboard, I think there were a couple of other things. And it looks like my display driver just crashed, which it did. Nice. I'm not displeased with the performance, but one of the things that I did was I put an old Quadro FX 4600 in here. And while that was a fairly nice CPU, well, that was a fairly nice video card, well, you can see it's got some issues. It's an older card, and that's just the way that it is. And I'm going to start that all over again if that's even going to work. It may cause the driver to crash again. I haven't had that issue in a while. But it's weird. It behaves kind of strangely, so I wouldn't be surprised if that card has some problems. So what we're going to do in this video is a couple of things. Number one is I have an upgraded video card. Quite a bit of an upgrade. It's an AMD. Is it actually a genuine AMD or is this an Asus? I think it's an AMD. Sapphire Radeon HD 7970, which is quite a bit better than the card that I've got in there right now. That's stuff for the whole project. Unfortunately, I've only got one DVI port, which is a real shame. So I had to buy this little cable here. Yeah, this little DisplayPort DVI. I'm going to use that because I probably should have anyway. I bought a new power supply. This one was on sale, 600 watts. It's not modular, at least not as far as I know. I'd be surprised if for like 60 bucks it's a modular power supply. Better than the 500 watt Antec thing that I've shoehorned in there. It's kind of tired. And because this little wireless thing right here that I bought that I thought was such a good idea is a piece of junk, I'm going to do it the right way. And I went ahead and I picked up one of these. Again, this was on sale. This should support the 5 gigahertz band, which I didn't even know they still sold stuff in the year 2018, 2019, whatever the case may be. It was 2018 when I bought it. I didn't know they still sold stuff that didn't support didn't support the 5 gigahertz band, but that doesn't. So that will be useful for some of the project. That doesn't require the 5 gigahertz band, but I want to have, you know, all of the good stuff for this machine. So that's the way that it's going to be. While I'm at it, I'm going to clean this thing up. Probably redo all of the USB because this is a disaster. Although I don't think I'm going to be able to get it much better than this anyway. And definitely, like I said, I'm going to clean up, especially the dirt around the fans. We'll get that all nice and clean. And, well, there we go. So I'm going to let that render. It should take about 12 minutes. That's my little test. Now, the big issue I think I'm going to have with this is that I'm going from an NVIDIA card to an AMD card. I don't know how the system is going to react. I guess we're going to find out. Okay, I managed to render that 1080-60 video in. Hopefully, I'm not going to have to put this old card back in order to do this. So I'm going to shut it down. And then I'm going to start moving all this stuff out of the way. Should go ahead and shut down any second now. And it's not focusing. There we go. Well, this kind of sucks. See this little stupid thing right here? That's going to prevent me from installing the new video card. Should have seen that coming from a mile away. A couple of things that I will still... Well, actually, I'll be doing everything but the video card then, I guess. At least for right now. Because what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to go get a new case and then transfer all of this stuff into the new case. Which is going to be fun. Or I could just find one from work. It's the other alternative option. You know? Isn't it nice when stuff doesn't work out? But at least I was able to get this little fan speed control thing out of the way. Well, out of the case, so I can now control the fan speed on this fan, which is still dirty even after I clean it out. The other thing I'm going to do, I will still be installing the network card, the new wireless card, and we'll be installing a new power supply, and I'm going to be fixing the arrangement of these SATA devices because the way it was before, the drive numbering was wrong, so I'm going to fix that. Hopefully, it will actually be fixed. If not, I guess I'm going to have to pull the cover and do it all over again. Okay, so let's open this, if I can, with one hand. Which it looks like I can't because the box is being... Or not the box, it's not the box's fault, it's this stupid plastic crap. There we go. So we'll get all that off. You can see there some of the tech specs, if it will focus. It's just some cheap TP-Link thing, so I'm not expecting miracles. Let's see if we can get this plastic off. I never understood why they wrap things in plastic. You know, they talk about all this environmentally friendly stuff, and yet they still wrap it in plastic. Okay. Let's see if we can even get the box open. Because I don't have the luxury of a tripod. Those are not here right now. Nope, I'm going to have to stop the camera and do this. Well, that was ridiculous. I hope this isn't DOA, because I won't be able to take it back now. Alright. So here we go. Here's your disc, which I don't think I need. Here's the card with a heatsink. There's your two antennas, and I guess if you really want it, there's a small form factor bracket. Okay, let me get this installed in the computer. Wow, something actually went well for once. Relatively painless install. Well, just those antennas later. Right now I want to get the rest of this done. Alright, here's the power supply, which is interesting. It says it's Haswell ready, even though Haswell is now, I think, 5 generations out of date. 80 plus certified. You can go ahead and read that on the side if you wish to do so. There's nothing really on that side or on that side. On the back, again, you can go ahead and read if you wish. We'll go ahead and open it. And we get product warranty, something, I'm sure that's the manual, I guess. You get a power cable, Here's all the cabling for the power supply, and there's the power supply itself, which I will take out of the box and unwrap. Right, so here it is, nice and black, 80 plus rated. Here's a look at the insides. Right, there's a hopefully better look at the inside. I went ahead and turned the video light on, so you can actually happen to see all the circuitry in there. It's not heavy, which is a little disconcerting for a 600 watt power supply, but it's not featherweight either. So hopefully this one's going to last. The only other thing that concerns me is usually these fans. Of course, it wouldn't be a computer job if you didn't shed some blood, apparently, but I didn't even notice that until now. These fans are usually air, got temperature controlled. I don't like that. So hopefully this one will actually work. I guess we'll find out. And I gotta put it in the case. Okay, well I didn't need the video light, but I got it all set up now. Hopefully everything is plugged in. I have a SATA cable I probably really need to replace, which I think I might do. What I think I'm going to do is, because I don't really want to modify this case while this board's installed in it, I got a couple of them sitting at work right now. I may grab one and modify it while it's at work, bring it, and then swap the parts into it. I think that'd probably be a good idea, because I like this case. And I think that anything that's close to this is going to set me back a couple $100. And I don't have that kind of money right now, so I'm not going to spend a couple $100 on it. We'll just do it this way. Okay, so I want to see this run, so I've got a monitor, I've got the keyboard hooked up for now. Turn on the UPS. Monitor will come on. This is the monitor I've got hooked up. I'm going to turn off the video light on the camera, and then we'll hit power on the computer and see what happens. Alright. Push delete. Getting the setup, which it has hopefully done. Monitor just turned off for some reason. Not really sure why that happened. Okay, give me a minute. Okay. So what I've got going on here is I actually had a loose connection on SATA port 1, which is that drive which has the broken clip. That looks very dangerous. I'm gonna have to do something about that. But I think that this setup right now is good to go. So hopefully on Monday, actually probably not Monday, but Tuesday, or something anyway, I don't really know, I'm going to have a new case for this machine. That I think is probably the best way to do this, is to get somebody to Dremel out that in a different case while this board is not installed in it. And then swap the board and do all of that. So let me button this all up and get this all set up back up the way that it's supposed to be. Well, this is a little unexpected. I have to use the CD to install the network card. It may even be the same CD as the one for the other one, I don't know, but I shouldn't have to do that, since we already had TP-Link network card installed. Well, we only have one option. Well, maybe it's a slightly different disk. Sure is taking its jolly sweet time. I'll give it a minute. Okay, click on OK. It will close, and we can in fact connect to our network. And look at this, 5 gigahertz, the way that it should have been in the first place. Okay, well, I wouldn't say it's particularly fast, but it is at least reasonable and doing a good enough job. signal strength is pretty good. So I think that's probably good enough. Okay, so when we last left off, this machine was in a state of sort of disarray in that the big video card that I wanted to install in it, which is right there, the HD7970, would not fit in the case. Well, the last couple pieces of the puzzle have now come in. If we come over here, here's a freshly modified case, exactly the same as what I have, maybe a little bit rustier, but that's alright. We can live with that. I wanted exactly the same case, and as you can see, this little piece right here, it doesn't look necessarily the prettiest, and it is a little sharp, but nobody's going to be looking at it, so honestly, who cares? And I've just noticed some more routing holes down there, which should make my life a little bit easier when I go to route the cabling from here. Yeah, that ought to be really nice. I also just noticed that apparently you can pull a faceplate off. I did not realize. I think there's screws. Yeah, there's screws on the front and all of that. As you can see, we're missing the fans. I will be giving this a little bit more of a cleaning, just last minute. I've already cleaned it out as best as I can. And I'm going to be putting some brand new fans. These, which yes, they're LED fans. I noticed that you cannot actually buy non-LED fans for the most part. The cheapest ones I found that were not light up in any way were I think $13 a piece, which is more expensive than buying these, which is a pack of 2, which is what I need. This is good enough. So I'll live with the LED fans, and who knows, maybe it'll be, just another little cool thing that can be done with this case. But these are 3-pin fans, so I do not need to have the ridiculous little Molex connector running through here, as well as the SATA. So another piece that I have, it's over here somewhere, here it is this, which I'm going to use on the Molex line, so I don't have to run a second serial ATA thing through there. So that is going to be nice. I think this is going to work out very well. I'm going to transfer all of the hardware to this. It's very nice because I can take the drive caddy out. Come on. Take it out of this, out of that other one, and just put it right here. No questions asked. Same deal with the 5 1/4 inch bay. I could just take the other one out and put it in, no questions asked. And there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove all the NVIDIA stuff from this. And because I'm sure that it will conflict with the AMD when I go to put that in. So I'm going to remove all that, I'm going to shut the machine off, and I'm going to pull it out. We'll have a look at it. Okay, so here's the state of things. I removed the power supply and the outward-facing appendages, of which there were only 2 for the wireless card. Leaving behind this spaghetti mess. The next step is actually I'm going to remove this and the video. Well, I'll remove the video card first and the wireless card, put those aside so I can access all the rest of the cabling a lot more easily. And as I have just noticed, I am correct in saying that the motherboard does not go all the way to the edge. So those 2 screws right there can be reused for other purposes, which is great because I kind of don't have enough screws for all of this. So, well, there you go. Okay, I've got everything pretty much removed. All I need to do now is to pull out this motherboard and its I/O shield, transfer it over into the new case. Well, also pull out all the screws from this case, and I'm going to take the rusted ones out of here because I want this to look good. I'm going to leave the rubber grommets in the bottom just for shock mounting or whatever. You're not harming anything. So, well, you can leave all that there. I'm going to be putting the motherboard in the case first. So there was a thing back here, a little black plastic thing. If I remember right, that made it difficult to put the motherboard in. So I pulled it out. I did the same thing on this case as well, just to make it easier to pull the board out and just transfer it over to the other case. But I ought to get this done. I want to get this done sooner rather than later, so... Okay, I successfully transferred the board into the new case. It's always nerve-wracking because I always think I'm going to screw something up. I've never destroyed a board. Actually, no, wait, I take that back. That's not true. I did destroy one board when I was trying to install a CPU cooler. My screwdriver slipped off of one of the spring-loaded screws and went right through the motherboard. That was very annoying. So yeah, it has happened. Yes, it happens to everybody, including me, even with as much care as I take to putting these boards in place. So I've managed to get all of the screws nice and shiny. None of those rusted ones. They're all going to go into this case, which I don't really care too much about. I want my rig to look nice, even though it's never going to be seen by anybody. So there's one thing, except for me, and all of you who watch this video. But I might as well make it look good. I wish I had thought to install this cooler the right way. I'm not sure how you would remove the fan from the bracket. If somebody knows, I would love to hear from you, because I want to put that cooler on the other way so that if I ever decide to, I can use those extra RAM slots, because as it is, the cooler is bumping into the last one, which is very annoying. But he who admits to not paying as much attention when installing things in a computer case as he should, well, that guy gets exactly what he deserves. So the next step, I'm going to install the video card, the wireless card, and then I'm going to put in the power supply, because then I'm going to route all the cabling the way that I want it to be routed. Actually, first, I'm going to install the front panel stuff. And I'm wondering if the front panel audio on this case actually works, because it does not on this one. I guess we'll find out. Wow. Okay, so a lot has taken place since you last saw me talking on this. Lots of design flaws. I think you could see one right off the bat. Well, actually a workaround as a result of a design flaw. Or at least what I think is a design flaw. I mean, you can say what you want about this being a cheap motherboard. Because, if I remember right, it was the cheapest motherboard you could get to work with the AM4. Or among the cheapest. I don't think it was the cheapest. I think it was more of a mid-range option. But it certainly wasn't expensive. That said, fan headers cost the manufacturer nothing to add. You can say all that you want. Don't even talk to me about, oh, there's no space on the layer of the board. It's a multi-layer board. If you have to, add another frickin' layer. Not difficult. Alright? So there's no excuse for this board to have one fan header. But it does only have one fan header. So what I'm going to have to do now, because the manufacturer could not spend the extra, thousandth of a penny to add another fan header, I have to put this fan back in here. And I got to order, however much it costs, a 4-pin to 3-pin adapter so I can put the other fan in. What fun. And it's not going to be fan speed control either. So I may well just leave this one in here, just so I can have the speed control on all the fans, because that was what I wanted in the first place. Okay? But that's not the only thing that I came into contact with. Oh no. Apparently they did not stop to think for 5 seconds about the fact that somebody might want to put a big video card in here. Okay? So, I'm going to call it USB. That SATA port down there is blocked by the video card. I mean, why? What's the point of that? Look at all that empty space that they've got right there around that screw hole. Here's a thought. Move all that stupid capacitor junk right over there and that tracer and all that stuff. Move that over there where all that space is and put the SATA port right there. There is nothing stopping them from doing that. So easy. It would have been so simple for them to do that, but they didn't. So I had to put a right angle connector there, and I'm still not entirely sure that it fit properly. So it's probably pinching something or breaking something else. But all the drives are accounted for. Everything seems to be okay. The video card even works, which I think is, something of a minor miracle, considering all the mess that I had to go through to get it in there in the first place. It's not pretty, but it's never going to be. And it is what it is. So there you go. There is my little rant and ramble about all of that. So, it's in place, and the next step, I'm going to replace that monitor back there with one that's got DVI, and I'm going to set this all up the way that it's supposed to be. Wow. What time is it now? 6 o'clock. I said I wanted it done by 6. Oh, and I almost forgot this lovely thing right here. What is the purpose of this? If I'd remembered that it was there, I would have told them to Dremel it out when they got rid of all the rest of this. But I didn't, so I had to bend it back. Maybe I'll figure out some other way of cutting it out later. Oh well. At least all that fit in there nicely. Still need to replace that SATA cable, which I don't know if I'm ever going to do that now because I'm going to have to pull out the video card and all of this. Oh yeah, and the case is definitely not going to fit quite properly because that sticks up. But I'm going to install it anyway because at this point I don't care. Okay, I think I've managed to get everything. Here's a new monitor. So I've got 2 LG monitors now. So I guess that's the one good thing to come out of this. So we should change this to enabled. I don't know why it was disabled. CPU temperature, that should be like that. What's this? Oh, I can't change it, that's fine. Fan control, use temperature input, CPU. So I'll ramp that fan up a little bit. Temperature intervals, fine. First fan control, automatic. System fan 1 stop. You can enable that, sure. Fan speed control. What if you set it to full speed? What does it do? So that's how fast it can go. So set it back down to normal. Oh, I can manually set all this stuff too. Nice. PC health status. Reset case open status. Just because I'm picky like that while you're not focusing. Probably could update the BIOS. You should be able to save configuration and exit. And now is when all the problems will show up. Bookmark my words. Okay. Is that monitor even on? Not sure why it turned off. Okay, so we're now booting. It's on both monitors apparently. That's interesting. Scanning and repairing. Wonder what the deal is. I haven't changed anything. Shut it down cleanly. So we'll let it do its scan disk and then we'll come back. It's probably a routine thing. Okay, that was almost a panic moment, but there we go. So now I got to get the video driver. Okay, I have internet access, that's good. Should have downloaded the video driver before I did all of this. The monitors are mirrored, that's why it's doing this weird thing. That's what's going on. Okay, considering this has an SSD, this is awfully slow. I wonder what the deal is. Radeon, please wait while detecting hardware. This is probably going to fail because my life is a comedy. Okay, let's go for a custom install. I need the display driver. I don't really need the HDMI audio driver. I'm going to install everything else though, because I'm not planning on doing HDMI audio on this thing anyway. Oh, that reminds me, I should really check the front panel audio on this and see if it actually happens to work. Okay, install. Now, let's see how long that is going to take. Probably forever. Okay, I rebooted, and it's done what I think it's done. It's put the DisplayPort as the primary monitor, so I'm going to have to switch those. Okay, this is really weird, but at least it confirms something. They both say DVI. Huh. DVI-I. It's actually DVI-D. It's using the digital connection, or at least it should be using the digital connection. Whatever the case may be, the driver over here is identifying this as the primary display, and that is the secondary, like it should. But you can see over here, Windows is not doing the same thing. Weird, man. I guess it doesn't really matter. Ultimately, if everything stays on the same monitor like it's supposed to, I really don't care. But now, here comes the big test. Okay, it's rendering. But it doesn't look like it's a whole lot of an improvement. But with that said, I'm hoping that AMD's driver is going to work at least a little better for some of the stuff than the NVIDIA one did, because the NVIDIA one would crash on a frequent basis, probably because there was something wrong with the card. But I guess time will tell. We'll see how long that actually takes. Okay, that took about 8 minutes. So again, that's really not too bad. I mean, it's not that much of an improvement. I have no idea why that thing just decided to zoom in like that. But the big improvement, I think, is going to be with the audio, because check this out. Both of my front panel connections work just fine. I just have this set up like this for a test. So we can just go ahead and we can unplug them. I think the front panel audio, like the headphone jack, is a little messed up. But because I can do jack reassignment on this, if it is, I can just use the microphone jack for that. It's not really that big of a deal. So we'll just pull the plug on all that mess. And then everything will be hopefully back to normal. Yes, just like that. Okay. So, now for one more test. Just to make sure that everything is going to work, because this did not work with the AMD card, with the NVIDIA card. I think it's time to have a little bit of fun. Okay, I would say that's working great, because even doing silly things like this, it hasn't crashed. Watch, now that I got the camera pointed at it is when it's going to crash, but I think it's okay. I think we're good to go. Because like I said, this is something that the other card wouldn't do. You know, after a couple of seconds, the game would crash or whatever, and you couldn't recover from it without resetting the machine. So I think we're in good shape here. I think this is doing what it's supposed to do. So let's hit this car on camera, if we can, with my very dilapidated turbo thing. And look at that. Doesn't even slow the frame rate down. That's just how good that is. So I would say that this is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. So thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. In my next video, we will be taking the hardware from my home theater PC, which is sitting under there. From there, it'll be going into the other machine, but I think I do need a couple more parts for that to become a reality. That said, this is CP666 signing off, and I hope to see you next time. Till then.